Well, we're excited about the tournament, and clearly, no matter who you play, you're playing against a very good team. And in Buffalo, we're playing against a team that comes from an excellent conference, the Mid-American Conference. And not only are they the regular season champion, but they're also the tournament champion. I think they're incredibly talented, well coached. They play a style that's difficult to defend. They strike in transition, and they know how to win. This isn't just their first appearance in the NCAA tournament. They've been in it, I believe, 3 of the last 4 years. So we're dealing with a confident team, a team that I'm sure is able to beat anybody on their schedule, including us, and we have to be ready to go.
Before the selection show yesterday, did you think that you guys were really set on going to the West, and were you surprised that they put you in the South?
Not really. I think for us, you can't make too much of the seed or the place you're going. You have to play well. It could be the perfect setup, but if you don't play really well, there's so much parity in the tournament that you'll end up losing.
Is it difficult to prepare a short week? I mean, Buffalo don't have a lot of common opponents. I think you guys only played 2 similar opponents this entire season. How hard is it in 3 days, really, to get ready for an opponent you really have no experience playing against?
Well, the one thing that's tough is playing 3 games in 3 days. We didn't get back till really late on Saturday, early Sunday morning. You take yesterday off, and got to be really careful because of the workload on our players, both in practice and in the games. And with that, we have to be smart in our preparation. I think the last thing we want to do is on Thursday night playing against Buffalo that our tank's on empty. We want to make sure that we give our guys enough time to recuperate, and at the same time make sure that we're sharp and ready to go.
I thought after the last 3 games that PJC probably played his best of his career, maybe of the season, maybe his career. What did you think how he managed the game? And he did a great job, I thought.
No doubt. One of the reasons that we won the Pac-12 tournament is Parker's overall play. His defensive games back to back to back were just outstanding. His leadership was great. He made open shots, and he played like that senior, that veteran type of player. So for us, I think having him play the way he just played, especially considering who he played against, I don't know if he's ever been more confident in his ability, and certainly us being confident in him. But he did a great job. You're right. A big reason we won the Pac-12 tournament was his play.
He also said that you challenged him this beginning of last week. That you said, "Now's your time. You got to start stepping up." What was the reason behind that?
Just he's never coming down this way again. He's the senior. He's been a part of a lot of big moments. He's learned the ropes early as a freshman. As you know, following Parker, his role's grown each year that he's been here. But this year, coming down the home stretch, you really rely on your guards, but especially your most experienced players.
Sean, Coach Oates said last night that to be successful in the NCAA tournament, a lot of that depends on guard play, and he liked how his guards matched up against you. What's your take on that?
They do. They have outstanding guards, and they a lot like teams in our conference. They do a really good job of having almost a wing player playing the 4, Harris, number 2, who's an excellent offensive player. So it's not just like a point guard or a 2, but they play 3 and 4 guards at a time. They have very good depth. Some of the guys coming off the bench, do the same thing. So I think between their depth and the versatility of their guards, the fact that they really play a wing player at the 4, that's what he's talking about. And that's been their advantage all year. I mean, you look at their record, they're 26-8, and that's how they've played. So I'm sure they have a tremendous amount of confidence.
He was under Hurley, I think, at the end. Do you see any similarities to what Bobby Hurley's done?
Yeah, there are some. They play predominantly man-to-man. They love to push the ball in transition. They utilize the 3-point shot. They sub in a similar manner, but they really have the ability to strike in transition and strike quickly. They have a lot of different players who can score, and they have an excellent low post player as well.
What did you think of Lorenzo getting the Pepperdine job, and did you kind of figure, he would be in the market to get a job like that after the season?
We're elated for Lorenzo. We didn't know how long he would be here for. Clearly, if he had an opportunity as good as Pepperdine, it's something that he has to take, and we're excited for him. He's done an excellent job in the year that he's been with us, and he's really helped guide the ship. And we're going to miss him, but our season's not over yet, and I think he knows that as well. So we're looking forward to the NCAA tournament.
Usually a lot of assistants, they learn a lot from their head coach. I mean, what's something you've really learned from Lorenzo just this year?
He's a very poised person. He doesn't get too high, he doesn't get too low. What you see is what you get. He's very honest. I think that whoever you are, whether you're a fan or whether you're one of our own players, you really learn to love him because he's very genuine in all that he does.
Coach, do you look at this as a bracket, or do you look at it as a game at a time? And how do you make sure that you stay true to whichever approach that you take?
Well, we're in a 4-team tournament. The difference is if you lose, your season ends, and that's part of what makes the NCAA tournament what it is. But if you win, it's very similar to a Pac-12 road trip. You play a game, you have a day in between, and then you play a second game. So hopefully for us, we have the opportunity to advance. And the winner of that 4-team tournament goes to the Sweet 16. And there are a number of 4-team tournaments played here early on. So, you try to shrink maybe the thought process, not worry about the entire tournament, try to worry about the game that's in front of us and do the best that we can.
And famously, you haven't been to a Final Four. Is this something that your players know about? Do they think about? Is it something that weighs on your mind?
No. It's if you start to think about that, you're not going to get there. I think it's just about having a great process, making sure that we're healthy, ready, have a lot of energy, focused on the task at hand, and then move from there.
So Bill Self said yesterday about wins in the tournament and how much different they feel compared to regular season games because they're special.
Mm-hmm.
How do they feel to you?
No, he's definitely right. I would put the same thing in the context of a conference tournament. When you're in elimination basketball and you survive, I think it makes you feel a lot better.
What do you think of the way you guys played in first halves in Vegas, that is? In first halves and in second half, seems like you guys were kind of hanging in there the first half and then putting away. Obviously, the UCLA game was in overtime, but that USC game, you guys were in there. It was a close game in the second half, kind of blew it open. What do you think what's the difference, in your opinion, the way you guys played the second half of the tournament versus those first halves?
We want to be good the entire game, but when you play against good teams and everybody we're playing is good, it's not as easy. Sometimes you're down at the half, sometimes you're up. I think the way you finish, every coach, every team wants to be a team that believes that they can finish strong. And, if we did one thing in Las Vegas that helped us win the conference tournament is, our finishing the last 4 minutes of games, the overtime against UCLA. We were strong at the end, and that's something we're going to rely on here this week as well.
What did you think of the selection committee's decision to put ASU in but not USC?
Well, I'm glad that ASU is in. I think they deserved it. I think UCLA and Arizona State will both be very difficult games for the opponents they're matched up with. I really believe USC deserved to be in the tournament. I know the selection committee has a tough job, but just playing against them, not only are they capable of being in the tournament, but they would be a team that would be capable of advancing. But that's the parity of our game, and unfortunately for us, they were left out.
How would you assess how Raleigh's played maybe the last few games?
He's played, maybe in some peaks and valleys. He's had great moments. You feel those, not just his dunk, but he's made timely three-point shots. He played really well in our second game against UCLA. And then he's had some pockets where he's turned it over, maybe not played as well, but hopefully it'll even out for him.
Do you think there's a reason for that, or just stuff that happens along the way?
It's just stuff that happens. Players, they hit their stride where they're, hot shooting, they're hot scoring, they're making timely plays, and then once in a while, you have a player that can lose some confidence. I think Raleigh's confidence is really good. I mean, we're at our best when he plays well, and confident that he'll play well this week.
Same question for Trier. He's been in that same type of up and down type of thing, shooting specifically.
Yeah, I mean, Alonzo missed 2 games. You know, that hurts a little bit. Sometimes your timing can be off. But, again, I have great faith and confidence in those guys. We're around them every day. They're excellent players, and they know what March Madness means. They want to be at their best. I think for us, it's just making sure that they don't put too much pressure on themselves.
Sean, as you head into this tournament, how are you preparing your team to answer a lot of non-basketball related questions?
We just have to focus on what we can control, and that is our preparation for the next game.
I noticed in the Las Vegas paper said the 3rd most popular video on Friday was you getting heckled by Colorado fans and then having to answer questions about it. And I'm wondering, is it a concern that going forward, as far as you guys go, that it's still going to be out there, at least in some people's minds? Not, you know, we've all asked you about it, but maybe other people might still, you know? And is that...
What's your question?
Are you concerned about that follows you, so to speak, at least in some people's minds?
I can't control that.
Another thing you can't control, Coach, they put DeAndre on the cover of Sports Illustrated, right? That kind of ratchets up the expectation. How do you keep the guys nice and mellow where you want them to be, focused but not too focused, relaxed but not too relaxed?
You know, our guys, for the most part, they've been in the spotlight for a long time. DeAndre's been in the spotlight the last couple of years as a great high school player. He's played in the McDonald's All-American game. He's played virtually in every scenario during a regular season and now a conference tournament. You know, those are things that you start to learn to live with and be ready for. And I think that, you know, we have a group that understands what's at stake, and it's so much about our preparation and the focus for Buffalo. If you lose sight of that, then the next day will never come.
And how do you handle the pressure and expectation this season as opposed to like next year? The recruiting won't be what you're accustomed to. You know, maybe there's like a now or never feel. Do you worry about that, and how do you handle those sorts of thoughts when they come?
No, we're just, again, we're entering a 4-team tournament.
Yeah.
That second game won't come if you don't advance, and right now this week's about preparing for Boise, Idaho.
And do you have any further comments on the investigation, the ESPN report,
No.
or anything? Thank you.
How much advantage or whatever kind of word you want to use, do you have the 4 starters back from last year's experience with the run? Does that help?
Absolutely. You know, I think anytime that you have experienced players who've been in conference tournaments and had success or in the NCAA tournament, it's going to help you.
Just because they've been through it before, pressure's not as big
I
as...
think hopefully they're more comfortable, you know, because everybody thinks as far back as the first day of school what it'll feel like to be in the tournament. And, you know, that tournament feeling sometimes can take your mind away, and it can kind of get you thinking about things that maybe aren't as healthy because you want to do so well, you want to play so well. And that focused approach on the task at hand, if you've been there before, I think it allows you to settle in and really play good basketball.
During the Pac-12 tournament, you didn't really play guys like Ira Lee and Brandon Randolph. I'm just wondering, I mean, is that really kind of your set lineup that you had in the conference tournament, or what's kind of going to be their roles moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, we're playing right now a rotation that we think gives us the best chance to win. Ira, you know, he missed quite a bit of time with a concussion, and he just started to get cleared as we entered the tournament. But we're going to need our bench just like we need our starters to be successful.
So this year, how much of a boost will give you to have? I mean, Doosan's playing with so much confidence right now, and you have Aiden, obviously. You know, how do you think this team's going to stack up just against Buffalo? Since, as you said, it's a 1-game tournament, really, with those extra weapons. I mean, I know that Doosan was there last year, but he's really a new player this year, honestly, versus where he was at this point last season in Salt Lake City. How would you say this team stacks up versus heading into the tournament, in your opinion, versus last year, maybe the year before that?
There's some similarities. You know, last year we won the Pac-12 tournament. We had a lot of confidence, headed to Salt Lake City. You know, this year we won the Pac-12 tournament. I think we have a lot of confidence. We're headed to Boise. We have a different dynamic. You know, I think the front court that we had last year is a little different than the front court this year. But for the most part, you know, we relied a lot on Kadeem as a senior, experienced guard, and we're relying a lot this year, like Steve had mentioned, on Parker, a guy who's been there before, Alonzo, Raleigh. You know, those guys are all very good players and experienced. So,
Are you enjoying this?
yeah, it's a blast. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.